So, next company to present is ExpreS2ion Biotechnologies, an interesting vaccine development company. And with me today, I have the CEO of ExpreS2ion, Bent Frandsen. Welcome, Bent.
Thank you very much, Claus. My name is Bent Frandsen. I'm the CEO of ExpreS2ion Biotech. I'm very pleased to be presenting my company here at this life science seminar held by HC Andersen Capital. So, ExpreS2ion Biotechnologies was founded back in 2010 on the back of a proprietary protein production technology that we branded ExpreS. You will notice the S2 in the brand name as well as in the company name. It's because we have a proprietary protein production system based on S2 insect cells. These are very useful and were the basis for starting a service provider business. And in 2016, we made an IPO as ExpreS2ion Biotech Holding AB on the Nasdaq First North Growth Market in Stockholm. That helped us promote our service business as well as create new business opportunities, which led to the formation in 2017 of adgang, which ExpreS2ion co-founded with a group of researchers from Copenhagen University, led by Professor Ali Salanti, who had invented a very novel and unique virus-like particle technology. This VLP technology is an important part of our history going onwards. In 2019, ExpreS2ion launched our Hyman S2 glyco-engineered cell line, where we have glyco-engineered the S2 cell line to enhance the immunogenicity, which is important when you develop vaccines. 3 years ago, we made a strategy shift, moving from our service provider business into a pipeline development-oriented business. And this just coincided with the outbreak of the pandemic COVID-19. And it was very fortunate, if you like, to start a novel COVID-19 vaccine based on the technologies, both from ExpreS2ion with our S2 technology and adgang VLP technology. And these technologies are also used in our breast cancer vaccine. They started 3 years ago, and we are very, very pleased that this year in 2023, the COVID-19 vaccine, as it has shown clinical proof of concept in a phase 2 trial sponsored by the licensee Bavarian Nordic, as well as having met the primary endpoint in a phase 3 trial, which Bavarian Nordic also has sponsored. This is very, very good, both for ExpreS2ion with our S2 technology and adgang with the VLP technology. I'm telling this background because it's the basis for our business model here moving forward. ExpreS2ion continues to develop novel pipeline assets, led obviously by the COVID-19 and the breast cancer vaccine asset, with the aim to generate proof of concept so we can partner these assets out. The COVID-19 asset was already out-licensed to Bavarian Nordic in a preclinical stage, so that has been quite great as a case story for this. We maintain our service business as a contract research organization, and we're very proud that our ExpreS platform has generated more than 500 different proteins over the years, and we've had more than 100 clients and partners over the years. When you look at vaccine development, the two most important components is to raise immunogenicity. That is, you want a very effective vaccine. At the same time, you also want a very safe vaccine. There are many ways to make vaccines. Vaccines have been in development for more than 200 years. When the smallpox vaccine was made by Edward Jenner in England as a live attenuated virus. And throughout the years, there have been other technologies, and most recently, to the furthest right here, you see messenger RNA vaccines platform that have come into play. So if you look at the combination of safety and immunogenicity, it's ExpreS2ion is with our ExpreS platform making soluble proteins, which are also in the high end of high immunogenicity and high safety. And adgang with the virus-like particle is able to generate even higher immunogenicity. The combination of these technologies results in safe and highly effective vaccines. And well, that's what we do. ABNCoV2, which is the name of the COVID-19 vaccine that Bavarian Nordic they in-licensed, has now shown proof of concept. And it's, as I mentioned, super important with the phase 3 validation, meaning that the primary endpoint was to show non-inferiority towards Pfizer's mRNA vaccine. This has been validated. Also, coming out of the clinical phase 2 trial, Bavarian Nordic have shown there's a greater durability than approved vaccines across variants of concerns, ranging from beta, delta, and Omicron variants. There's also been shown strong boosting effect across variants of concern. And then another very important factor compared with messenger RNA vaccines is that we have a very stable vaccine. They can be handled and stored at room temperature, so which is very good for the because it doesn't need the same cold chain logistics that that messenger RNA vaccines they need. Furthermore, we see a very high level of protection with the ABNCoV2 vaccine. It doesn't even require an adjuvant. An adjuvant is a very common add-on in any vaccine, but in fact, ABNCoV2 has shown data without even the need for an adjuvant. Next, we are waiting the secondary endpoints from the phase 3 trial from Bavarian Nordic, and let's see how that pans out. So this product opportunity alone in our pipeline has actually shown validation, a clinical phase 3 validation of the technology, of the technologies ExpreS and the VLP technology. If we look at the commercial side, we are tapping into very high markets. We're developing vaccines. The global vaccine market has been assessed to be about $40 billion in sales, and there's a double-digit growth over the next 5 years, 10% over this period. And a big driver, of course, is the prevalence of emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases. With our breast cancer vaccine asset, we're tapping into the immune oncology market. Here we also see a very high growth, more than 11% over the next 7-8 years, up to 18 billion by 2030. And here drivers are also rising government support to combat cancer cases. In both of these markets, we see strong pharma players, which are important in connection with our partnering strategy. So ExpreS2ion's pipeline looks like this today. We have a focused project pipeline where the lead candidate is the breast cancer, the COVID-19 asset ABNCoV2, which is in clinical phase 3, as I mentioned. The breast cancer vaccine project is fully sponsored by ExpreS2ion Biotech ourselves. This is in preclinical stage and is on path towards the first clinical trial in 2024. Furthermore, we have activities in influenza and CMV, cytomegalovirus, where we are developing vaccines under collaborations in terms of the influenza project here, Mucovax. We work together with Copenhagen University in a 70% grant-sponsored project called Mucovax. And in the cytomegalovirus, the CMV vaccine project, we work together with the AI expert company Evaxion in a 50-50% research collaboration where ExpreS2ion has the right to select the lead candidate a couple of years down the road. Importantly, we work as researchers, and we have an exploratory pipeline with undisclosed targets where we are into better ways of making vaccines using our glyco-engineered S2 cell lines and other VLP technologies. And this is important work also in terms of our next steps as a company. We have legacy programs which came into our pipeline before we did our pipeline focus strategy in 2020, led by a handful of different malaria projects, all engaged with academic partners, mostly from University of Oxford, speaking that these are in clinical trials and have validated the ExpreS systems themselves. And we have a similar project in influenza under the Indholdet project, an EU-sponsored grant. We did an announcement here in August, 2 weeks ago, about our breast cancer vaccine asset, ES2B-C001. When we looked at the environment here for raising cash to the clinical phase 1 trial in 2024, and other factors such as the uncertainty about Bavarian's ability to commercialize the ABNCoV2, we saw that it would be a challenge to bring this asset into the first clinical trial ourselves. It means we are putting a pause on this project. However, we are advancing it towards the clinical trial application readiness, including finalizing the GLP preclinical safety tox package. The production is also ready, so we have a very nice preclinical package on this asset where we're now investigating strategic options and how to bring this forward to the best. At the same time, we initiated a cost reduction program, which will allow us to have a cash position all through 2024 and into 2025. Furthermore, we are focusing more on our unique technology platform, so we can extract value from this here. So this is what we're doing here in the short term as well. The aim is to develop innovative vaccines with a faster and less cost path to value creation. And this is in realization that the ES2B-C001 in the oncology space, it is a costly and risky affair. And we can see with the skills and competences that we have in the area, also in other disease areas, that we can move closer to a clinical stage, even other assets. So this we are working on as we speak. We also announced our half-year report, where I just want to reiterate the second quarter highlights. It's great with the positive readout for the ABNCoV2 COVID-19 vaccine in terms of the 12 months durability. It's great with the positive readout on meeting the primary endpoint in a clinical phase 3 trial, showing non-inferiority to a messenger RNA vaccine. And we are awaiting Bavarian Nordic's communication on the secondary endpoint in the phase 3 trial, where they are also assessing the protection against the recent variant of concern, 1.5. As I mentioned, with the breast cancer vaccine, we've seen remarkable preclinical proof of concepts. However, the funding of the phase 1 trial is challenged. We put a pause on it and prolong our runway, looking at other strategic options, and at the same time making a cost reduction focus. We maintain the discovery and the exploratory work, and we have a good cash position to have made this strategic option here recently. So we are in due time. On the ABNCoV2, I think it's worth reiterating the potential we have been looking into. The licensing income is through the licensing agreement between AdaptVac and Bavarian Nordic, and Bavarian Nordic have also communicated that a phase 3 milestone would occur, irrespective of this is successful or not. So that's at least one good thing in terms of the status of the ABNCoV2 trial. The additional milestone payments for submission in US and Europe, I want to see a very Nordic statement before I rely too much on that one. Furthermore, ExpreS2ion still owns 34% of AdaptVac, which is also an important value contributor in ExpreS2ion's valuation. As I mentioned, we have a sound cash balance here at the end of the first half, 8 million SEK. You can here see our cash throughout the years since pipeline strategy 2020, where we successfully raised cash for development of the COVID-19 and the breast cancer vaccine assets, and how the development has been in that. At the moment, I'm quite reassured with the 88 million SEK, and with the pause in the breast cancer vaccine assets and the strategic decision on looking into cost savings, so we have sufficient cash also beyond next year. We are in connection with the rights issue that we experienced here in the spring. There was an associated warrant program called TO8. This has its exercise window coming up here in September. One warrant of these gives the right to subscribe for 1 new share, and it will be with a 30% discount to the average share price in the last 10 days here of August, including tomorrow, 1st of September. We will be announcing on Monday, on 4th September, the exercise price, and the exercise window will then be conducted from 7th September through 21st September, and the announcement of the outcome will be at the 25th of September. The use of proceeds are to a large extent towards our platform and technology development, our continued research and development, including the exploratory research that we're conducting, as well as working capital that also entails business development, which has an important meaning now also with respect to our breast cancer vaccine asset. Finally, I want to highlight the key catalyst coming up in the near future. We are looking at monetizing our focus pipeline assets, primarily the breast cancer vaccine asset, ES2B-C001, through earlier partnering than we had anticipated, and also licensing income, at least from a phase 3 completion milestone on the COVID-19 vaccine asset, ABNCoV2. Furthermore, we are continuing to look into non-diluting financing, such as grants schemes, to be able to fund new initiatives. And we continue to develop our pipeline towards major inflection points, of course. We will, of course, also be strengthening our IP rights, our intellectual property rights going forward, and continue focusing our efforts in our exploratory pipeline, which we hope to be able to extract value from also here shortly. We will be focusing on partnering activities for further financing and risk sharing of it going forward. Finally, a disclaimer revolving any forward statements that I've made here. I'll let you read that in detail when we
So, Bengt, thanks a lot for thoroughly presentation, and well, I fully understand there's a couple of issues to address right now. First of all, the VLP platform, you got a really good proof of concept. I hosted Bavarian early on today and last week as well, and they really confirmed the strong data you have. So there's a lot of questions going on about the milestones. You know, you have this setup with a backpack, and you have, as I remember, a majority stake in the company. Could you just briefly, and I know you will come back with a strategy update when Bavarian have decided what to do. But if we just experiment a little with the idea that you have this strong data, but the market changed. It's not like the technology doesn't work, but the market changed and FDA changed their rules in respect of that. So if Bavarian, because they got this license for the COVID treatment, hand back the product to you, what are we looking into? And so far, how much have you received in milestones? Could you take us through that, Ben?
Sure. A lot of different questions, but all related to ABNCoV2 and the COVID-19.
Yeah, of course.
So ExpreS2ion has a 34% ownership stake in AdaptVac, and at AdaptVac, when they made the license agreement with Bavarian Nordic, we received 4 million euro in upfront financing. That has funded AdaptVac over the years, and as mentioned, well, if all milestone payments were to be paid, it would be up to 136 million euro in milestone payments. Now it looks more with the current product version that could be a phase 3 completion milestone, which I cannot comment on the size of that or exactly when. But in any case, it's up to Bavarian Nordic to decide how to handle the COVID-19 space with the licensing rights that they have. ExpreS2ion and AdaptVac, we are of course there to support any new initiatives that Bavarian Nordic could perceive in this space. And certainly from ExpreS2ion side, we have made the Omicron variants early on that could also be used in a follow-up product, no doubt about it. But as Bavarian Nordic has also alluded to, we cannot make with the current system the protein antigens in less than 6 to 9 months, and that may be the main challenge if you want to put in a new antigen on the VLP for the next season as the COVID-19 evolves into an influenza-like disease. So that's kind of the main challenge. That is not a challenge in our breast cancer vaccine asset, which applies exactly the same technologies, but the antigen in the breast cancer vaccine, that's not a mutating protein. It's a self-antigen, which it's very reassuring that we can also see durability data in the COVID-19 space that we can also see in the breast cancer vaccine asset as well. So going forward, it's a good combination to look at antigens which may not be mutating as much unless we at ExpreS2ion, and that is also something we're exploring into, can speed up, can accelerate the early manufacturing of the antigens to months instead of more than half a year.
And that's very interesting, Bent, because that will of course change the scope. So is it fair to say we wait, of course, for Bavarian to finish the phase 3 readout? I think they mentioned something about within Q3, and I think at least within a month. Then you have this ongoing subscription issue, and after that we will get a clearer picture about your breast cancer and going forward. And I also heard you say so far you're financed well for 2023 and at least a little for 2024. Is that fair to say, Ben?
Yes, and I've been highlighting business development in connection with the breast cancer vaccine assets, because the aim has been to that we as a company can make a human proof of concept, a clinical proof of concept, which would be after a clinical phase 2 trial. And now we look into, with the current climate and the capital markets, a huge challenge in funding even the phase 1 trial going forward. So that means in terms of business development, I think we need to try to extract value from this at an earlier stage, which of course always the balance. Do you want to license your asset out at an earlier stage than after a clinical proof of concept, where the value of course would be huge? But it's all about risk and reward.
That's how it is, Ben. So I think that was more or less the final question. I'm really happy that you joined us today, Ben, and we hope to hear from you soon and could host a presentation with you on HC Andersen. So with that said, Ben, enjoy your day, and thanks a lot for all the good questions.
Thank you too.